the worst level in the original LASO trilogy. I wanted to take a little bit to talk about the different levels between Halo CE, Halo 2, and Halo 3, and just kind of give my opinion on which levels are the easiest and which levels are an absolute pain in the ass. In this video, I'm going to break down each individual mission and go through some of the strategies, the tips, the tricks that might be needed to beat the level on LASO. This is going to be broken up into 4 different tiers. The easiest one will obviously be easy. Then there's medium, hard, and an absolute pain in the ass. Some of the strategies are quite complex, while others you can literally just walk past everything because the map is so big. Anyway, some of them will require a ton of precision, while others you'll be able to try any number of times over and over again. So without further ado, let's get in there. The first up being the Pillar of Autumn. This mission is very short. For an experienced player, it probably takes about 10 minutes to beat this mission. Nothing too crazy. There's no real tricks that are necessary to beat this mission. Of course, some of the more experienced runners can do those to make this mission even easier, but overall, it's just shoot grunts in the head, and thanks to the Grunt Funeral Skull, and boom, as long as you're not too close, you can get through this mission in, like I say, about 10 minutes. This one is going to fall into the easy category. Next up, we have Halo, and not the one from Halo 3, the one from Halo CE. Halo is the first mission that you crash down from the Pillar of Autumn down onto the Halo ring, and you have to get back in touch with all of your Marines, get your squad back together, and fight off the Covenant.
Marty, he's killing the Marines.
Spoiler alert, this one goes in the easy category as well, as you can literally just either walk past everything because again the map is so big, or you can hide out of the line of fire and just use grunts to blow everybody up. Damn, that Marine just blaned that fucking... The mission is made even easier because there's no requirement to actually save the Marines, which is supposed to be a mission objective. If you just kill them, the game allows you to progress. You go through a few different areas, and then the game's like, hey, you're ass, and then the level's complete. Yeah, this one goes in the easy category. And wouldn't you know it, not even 5 minutes in, and we are already to our first difficult level. TNR, Truth and Reconciliation. I get nothing but complaints about this mission, as it's very, very long. You can't do the infinite reload glitch. There are only 2 weapons that you can use, and they're the ones you spawn with, the sniper and the assault rifle. Let's face it, the assault rifle is useless, and all you can do is use the sniper. Now, with some experience, the canyons that you fight through, not that big of a problem. You can conserve your ammo, hit your shots, get through there, not that big of a deal. You get to the first lift fight, and I've recently found a way, you can jump into this tree off to the side, get out of the map. So as long as, again, you're conservative, you use the grunts, Grunt Funeral, blow shit up, it's not that bad. The first big break in what makes this mission tough is the interior of the ship. Now, there is a skip here that's called belly skip. Basically, you blow up the Wraith, and you can clip yourself inside of the Wraith, doing some specific movements. You can get outside the map and skip everything. The problem is, that shit sucks. It's hard. It's not easy to do. It's very, very precise. And even if you hit it, if you make one mistake, you either fall back into the map and probably die, or fall off of the edge because the ceiling is not solid. It's you can fall through it, and then you die. The alternative to that is you have to hope that you win the coin flip of a 50-50 door so you can kill a camo elite, you wait for everybody to spawn, and then you blow a bunch of shit up. Hard. If you take belly skip and you skip everything, you still have a long list of going through hallways, fighting gold elites, which, by the way, you can't kill. What I mean by that is, if one of them is running at you, it takes 4 sniper headshots, and thanks to recession, you only get 2 before you have to reload, which means most of the time you're probably dead. But even then, you continue on, and the worst part is at the very end of the mission, where you have to escort Keys, and he's an idiot. I don't even want to get started on the programming of his AI. he literally will shoot the ground with a needler or a body, for example, and the body will super combine and blow up, and then blow up grenades around him, and he kills himself. Sometimes he throws a grenade at a wall thinking he's going to throw it at the Covenant, and he kills himself. Other time he just walks out into the open and then gets shot in the face, and then he's dead. No, Keys, come back, Keys! This mission at the end is terrible. Now, if we go back and you take the alternative strategy, which is to fight the interior whenever you first get inside the ship, there are 10 waves of enemies there. Yes, Grunt Funeral does help you here. You can get through it. It is, in my opinion, the more consistent way if you know what you're doing. But after that, you have to fight through all of the hallways, then through another hangar bay, and then go back to the rest of the mission that where it lines back up if you would have done belly skip. You still have to try to save Keys. He's still a dumbass. This mission sucks. Pain in the ass category. End of discussion. All right, moving on to Silent Cartographer. What a relief of a mission after getting out of TNR. This mission at the very beginning is really nice because you can just skip everything by walking to the left on this giant map. There's a little bit of a wave fight, then you can clip through some glass using a Warthog. There's a couple of overshields that you can abuse. There's a camo to skip most of the enemies. The only real hard part is at the very, very end. There's a golden elite that it's kind of hard to get rid of him. But there is a workaround strat. I found something decent. Basically, this mission, it doesn't really have any surefire faults. So this one is going to go in the easy category. Now for AOTCR. Assault on the control room. This mission is very short. There is a big skip called either Banshee Grab or Bridge Fall, one of the two. And both of them are kind of hard. Banshee Grab is kind of almost not viable due to playing on LASO with the Boom Skull and Grunt Funeral. There are ways to do it, but it is very difficult. The other alternative is Bridge Fall. Bridge Fall is 3 drops from the bridge to get down to the bottom of the map, and then everything is despawned. Now, this would be a very simple mission if both of these tricks weren't very difficult. So, let me rewind a bit. At the beginning, there's a little bit of fighting. It can be a little tough, but the biggest thing is one of these 2 tricks. You really do not want to go down the third path, which is to play the mission the normal way, because you just don't have enough ammo. So I'm going to rate this one in the medium category, just simply as the difficulty of the tricks are pretty precise to actually make it through.
Where's the phone? Where's the phone? Sergeant, stop! Get the fuck out of here!
343 Guilty Spark. This is also a mission that isn't too much of a problem, but there are some things in here that are do or die. So right at the very beginning, you skip some stuff. Again, big map, woohoo, cool. There's a little bit of fighting, and then there is the only big trick on this mission, which is reveal skip. Now, on LASO, thanks to Black Eye, your shields don't recharge, so you do have a very limited amount of attempts to get this trick to work. But you need to do a grenade jump, you go in between polygons, then you have to do, I guess I call it a bunny hop, but it's you stand on an edge of the geometry and then you move forward at the same time as you uncrouch, and the game gives you like a little spring bounce. Then you have to land on another piece of geometry, so on and so on. Then you jump under glass, blah, blah, blah. That trick is pretty hard. If you miss that trick on the third jump, you fall to your death and the mission's over. You, at least in a deathless run, you wouldn't be able to complete it. That trick is pretty difficult. Once you get past that, then there's a camo. You can kind of skip the facility area. You can go past everything and get to the exit. Not that big of a deal. And then again, the end fight isn't that bad, but there are a lot of flood that can swarm you at the end, and everybody knows about the shotgun glitch and shooting across the map and dying and things like that. So I'm gonna have to rate 343 Guilty Spark in the medium category. Ah, the library, old friend. So this one's a long one. This mission doesn't have very many tricks. There are some here of some ways to skip certain sections of the mission, but they're not required by any means. This mission is, you can kill a lot of the things, you know, there's plenty of weapons on the ground, you just have to be cognizant of grenades and stuff like that. You have plenty of human weapons for the infinite reload glitch and so on and so on. You can use the carriers, for example, as an advantage. You can kind of use them with the boom skull as kind of like, you can explode a bunch of flood at the same time. So as long as you're cognizant of, you know, the amount of ammo you have, the grenades on the ground, things like that, this one's okay. The problem is the repetitiveness and the length of the mission, and that brings in a whole lot of chances of death, especially from I call it the shotgun glitch, but it's just any explosion that goes off at the same time that you're shooting your weapon. It's almost like a mirror where all of that damage gets reflected back to you, and most of the time you just die. There's rocket flood on this mission, there's a bunch of shotgun flood on this mission, there's a bunch of fatty flood on this mission, and the fact that this one's long, I'm gonna have to put this one actually in the hard category. And then wouldn't you know it, right after the library is 2 betrayals. What do I even have to say about 2 betrayals? Do I even have to say anything about 2 betrayals? I guess I could talk a little bit about the different variants of LASO, but that's kind of another video, so let's just kind of keep it linear here. 2 betrayals, you start off with nothing but a shotgun, and you have to fight sentinels, so it's not fun.
Pull, mount the gun, pull away.
Then once you kill those guys, you have a big-ass hallway with a bunch more sentinels and a bunch of elites and a bunch of bullshit. That's not fun. Then, if you manage to survive all of that shit, you can do the easy route, which is the way that I suggest, which is doing the deload by hitting the button, the switch 2 times. If you didn't do that, holy shit, I don't even know how you get past that part. Now, let's not go down that route. I'm just going to go the other route. We're going to despawn this shit, go get the Banshee, and then you can either do Pool, or you can play the mission the standard way. Both of which, complicated as shit. Doing Bull turns this mission into, I don't know, about a 20-minute mission, maybe 25-minute mission, depending on, you know, how careful you are with stuff. If you play the mission the normal way, you're looking at a couple of hours. That's not even an exaggeration. This mission sucks ass. In any event, as you progress through, whenever you get toward the end, and, you know, let's say you would do Bull, there are still some things that you need to do. You have to do the broken door skip to, you know, clip the Banshee into the next room, and then even that, there's still some loads and some other things. That's all not very difficult. But the trick required to beat this mission, in my opinion, the easy way, which is Bull, holy shit, it's like 5 to 7 hours to learn it, of like constant practicing, maybe more, kind of depends on the person. And then you have to do it all like in a row because you're in void space and there's no checkpoints. I think this one's a slam dunk case. 2 betrayals is a pain in the ass.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Thankfully, Keys is the next mission, and we finally get a break. There is one trick on this right at the very beginning. It is not hard to replicate. You can use a flood to bump through a wall, and that skips everything. I'm not even going to discuss playing this mission the normal way because holy shit, if we did that, it would be in the pain in the ass category. Let's just go with known tricks and skips. Please do yourself a solid, learn the flood bump, and skip this shit. Without it, this mission is ass. With it, this mission goes in the easy category. Lastly, for Halo CE is the mission, the Maw. Everybody knows about the Maw, finally the iconic Warthog run to get to the end. This mission's not bad. There's a little bit of fighting. There are a couple of skips that need to be done. Maybe this is at the end of your run, so you're tired and fatigued. Even with all of that included though, all of the skips that you need to do are not super precise.
I know how you think. I'm the only man who can contain you.
Want to know the only problem?
What's that, Blark?
I'm already gone.
He's in the walls.
He's in the goddamn wall!
You go into a spot, crouch into a corner, you can clip outside the map, you skip a significant amount of enemies, you can use infinite rockets as long as you're being tactical with your strategies on what to do, and then it's a pretty decently easy Warthog drive. This mission overall, I'm kind of debating. I'm not sure if I want to put this one in the medium or the easy category. I guess that would kind of depend on if you're considering a full game run or just the level itself, but I think for the spirit of this video, I'm going to put this one in the easy category, just simply due to we're going one mission at a time. And that pretty much wraps it up for Halo CE. So overall, we have 2 pain-in-the-ass missions, TNR and TB. Yeah, they suck. Then we have 1 hard mission on the library. Okay, pretty shit. Then we've got 2 medium missions, AOTCR and 343 Guilty Spark. Easy missions, Pillar of Autumn, Halo, Silent Cartographer, Keys, and then Maw. 5 kind of easy missions, but I gotta have some in the easy category. Some of these are really easy, some are not. But anyway, let's keep going so far to try to figure out which one of these is the hardest mission in the original LASO trilogy.
Master Chief, defend this station.
Yes, sir. I need a weapon.
Right this way.
So, this brings us to Big Boy Cairo Station. Oh, Cairo. This mission doesn't have as many tricks as you would think. There are a few spots that you can skip some enemies and you can just kind of walk around and use the map to your advantage. But this mission is known for its combat. You got Hangar 1 combat, Hangar 2 combat, hallway combat, armory combat, another hallway, a space section, a drone room, another exterior to the building, and then more combat in the bomb room. There's combat everywhere. If I had to count them up, there's like 40-something white elites that you have to kill on Cairo. There's a shitload of combat on this mission, and just that alone puts Cairo Station in the hard category.
Our path was set by the travel agency.
That's for schoolgirls. Now here's a route with some chest hair.
Outskirts. Do I really even need to say anything else? You can jump outside the map, skip all of the enemies at the start. You can kill like 2 guys, walk past everybody else, grab a ghost, launch the ghost out of the map, and then literally strategically bypass this entire mission in the ghost. As long as you kill a couple of important enemies throughout this mission is by far one of the easiest missions to beat on LASO. Definitely going in the easy category.
It's tight quarters on the other side, sir. Use this.
I'm literally in a tank tonight.
Piggybacking off of Outskirts comes Metropolis. Now, Metropolis, let's talk about Metropolis. At the beginning, you can skip everything on the bridge. There's a little bit of a problem with the Banshees right near the end before you get into the tunnel. But if you are driving the Warthog full speed ahead and you just bail out and, kind of like multiplayer Gandhi hop jump down the tunnel, you can pretty much skip all of those guys. There's a little bit of fighting in the tunnel section with the snipers, but you can kill all of them from out of their range. After that is a despawn, then again you kill a couple of things out of range, you're completely safe. Then there's another despawn, and then all you have to do is wait for the Scarab to walk all the way to the end of the mission, and you can noob combo everything. Sorry to say, but Metropolis has to go also in the easy category. Moving on, the Arbiter. The first mission that you get to play as the Arbiter, you start off with a sword, you have active camo. It doesn't get any easier than that on LASO. Being that you can betray your allies and get overshield right at the very start, you have 5 seconds of active camo to use to your advantage. You can get up close and personal with all of these carbine elites, and they literally don't even have a forward melee damage output. You can kill everything on this mission very quickly, keep your shields up, and beat it in less than 10 minutes. Arbiter is definitely an easy mission. Following that comes Oracle. This mission is up for a little bit of a debate. Actually, no, it's not. This mission's easy as shit. At the very beginning, you can stand outside of range, you can kill all of the flood bodies down there, then you just got to kill Popcorn Flood. You stick your head into a wall, you skip the elevator. You go down into lab fight, you trigger the fight, jump out, and then wait for 12 minutes, you can skip everything. Then you walk past the rest of the guys using your active camo, hit the cutscene, and then do a pressure launch, and you're invincible for the entire mission. It doesn't get any easier than that.
Resident Evil 5 fun, but it's not scary, but it's fun, but it's not scary, but it's fun, but it's not scary. I'm saying the same shit over and over and over again. I'm a douchebag, I'm a douchebag, I'm a douchebag.
Could we possibly make any more noise? I guess so.
Okay, so why is it starting to be a common theme that all of the missions in Halo 2 are easy? Because, spoiler alert, I bring you another one, Delta Halo. At the very beginning, you kill a couple of guys, and then you can get out of the map and literally skip everything all the way to the very end. Now, there are a few triggers, there's a little bit of pathing that you have to do, but you can skip every encounter other than just the final enemies that are at the very, very end that, kind of bridges to regret. There's a couple of camo guys that are right there, but if you play your cards right, you can take a ghost to the end and then you just sit on the bridge and shoot them as they run out the door. Thanks to the Whoopopotamus skull or the unnamed skull where they always, everybody knows exactly where you are. They just rush you and you can just sit there and shoot them, no problem. Yeah, this one's a no-brainer. Easy all the way.
Out of my way! Out of my way! Can't you see he's gonna kick my butt? Hi there, young people. Nice day today.
So, you like kicking butts, do ya?
And right after that, I have to eat my words, because now we come to regret. Oh boy, regret. Okay, right as soon as you start, you kind of have to run into this hallway where these enemies spawn and backsmack all of them immediately, because depending on what weapons you carry over from Delta Halo, the beginning of this with the drones and the elites rushing you is not a good time. After that, you can get outside the map relatively easily and snipe the snipers, and then you can do the gondola god despawn. So that's not too terrible, but as the mission progresses on, there's an underwater section with a bunch of snipers. Again, head glitching, not too bad, that's okay. But as you continue through the mission, whenever you end or get out of the second underwater elevator, whenever you're exiting that mountainside, you walk outside and there's that little mountainside and you can jump through there, you can die fairly easily going right through there. And if you choose to fight that area, you don't have the high ground, so it's kind of like not a good time at all. Then it's like you make it past that and you can skip some of the other stuff. There's another gondola ride, that's all fine. The hard part of this mission is getting to Regret's Temple. So there's a little fight that happens outside of Regret's Temple, which you can kill stuff from the gondola. That's not too terrible. But this is where kind of the risk factor comes in. If you want to get into the Regret boss fight and actually make it easy, you kind of have to do a little bit of you got to take a risk. You can do like a double grenade jump or a rocket frag jump and jump into the window, and then you can skip the spawns and set everything up, block the, doors so the elites can't get you. But the problem with that is that what can happen whenever you're running around the room fighting Regret, taking that strategy, the grunts that are in there spawn infinitely throughout the rest of the fight, and more times than not, they'll throw grenades and move the pillars that you use to block the doors, and that lets everybody out and screws everything up. Not very fun. There's also the alternative of, on LASO, Regret gets infinitely more health, and I'm not exactly sure how they scaled this, but if you don't do grenade boards, he just doesn't die. It's like 20-something boards that are regular boards, so if you just go over to him, hit X to interact with his gravity throne, and you just punch him, he'll just keep going and respawning and going and going and going. And if you do grenade boards, there's a funny thing that can happen. If you mistime the grenade board, you can actually stick yourself. So it's like that whole interaction is not very fun. And if we flip it and go back to where you don't go into the side, like you don't skip the spawns and set up the boss fight, like fighting that room the quote-unquote intended way, I'm not even going to discuss that because holy shit, it's ass. Yeah, regrets going in the pain in the ass category. This mission is long as shit and it sucks. Sacred Icon, continuing on our split storyline following the Arbiter.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ah! 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 I'm just kidding.
This mission is almost a Library 2.0, kind of like a library ripoff. There's a lot of repetition throughout this mission. You do have active camo as the Arbiter, so there's a lot of things that can be skipped, even though the Whoopo skull makes it to where they can all see you. Well, not see you, but know where you are, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. The one room that comes to mind is right after Carrier Hall. There's a drop down, and you go kind of to the facility exterior where there's the Enforcer flying around, and he's fighting the Flood, and everything's shooting, and like you run through there, and then you hit this next piston, and you drop down into a foggy, pitch black, darked out room. The shit that is in this room will give you nightmares. Everything's alerted, everything sucks, head glitching doesn't fucking work half the time, and it's like the only way that you can really get through there is there's like this box structure that's right in front of you as you run in. If the Flood just decide to knock that shit down, you just die. You're not killing that shit. Camo shotgun Flood, it's not happening. That part in itself is so shit. You keep going through the rest of that dark hallway. There's a couple more drop downs, and then the next part that comes to mind is another kind of facility exterior section where the Phantom is like briefly fighting some of the Flood that are there. The Flood that are in that section, it's like all of them have SMGs and they just don't give a shit. And you can have 3 layers of overshield and you're just shit on. It sucks. You get past that though, and then you go to the very end, and now the infight, not terrible. There is kind of like a Minecraft strat here that you can get into the final fight before you like trigger the spawns and everything, and you can like block off and lock, you know, the carrier forms in so they don't screw up Halfjaw. Like Halfjaw will eventually clear the infight for you, which makes that really nice. I think overall, I gotta put Sacred Icon in the hard category. Sacred Icon on LASO kind of sucks. All right. QZ, Quarantine Zone. Starting out on this mission, you get a ghost, you skip basically everything all the way up until you get into the broken down, fallen out of the sky Sentinel factory. There's a couple of head glitches you can use to bypass a bunch of stuff. You got active camo, very nice, very nice. Whenever you get to the section where the falling scripted Enforcer corpse falls down, there's a couple of things that you can do in this section. Now, one of them is you can grenade jump out of the map using Sputnik and walk around, hit another trigger, and then do a kind of a little bit more experienced double grenade jump lineup, and you can walk all the way to the end. Not super hard with the double grenade jump. You stand into a corner, throw 2 grenades off of a wall, and then you just GTFO. The easier alternative would be clear the section with the falling Enforcer corpse. There are infinite Sentinels there, but they're really not that big of a deal. You take a ghost, and then you can do a Sputnik grenade boost on the ghost and launch the ghost outside of the map, and you literally can just drive that shit all the way to the very end. Then you sit on a 5-minute gondola ride where you don't have to fight anything, and then that's mission complete. Yeah, this one is kind of a no-brainer. Easy.
He's still gonna kick my butt!
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
Yep, Gravemind. You already know, I don't even have to say it, there's no point in wasting any time. This mission is a pain in the ass. Let's just get that out of the way right at the very beginning. You start off with no shield. In the 343 playlist, you have no active camo. You know what? I'm just not even going to go down the 343 LASO playlist on this mission because holy shit, it makes my head hurt. So let's just not do that. Let's just do actual LASO on this one. Even if you had Envy as Master Chief, wow, Gravemind. Hours and hours of fighting on this mission if you don't know what you're doing. You get out of the first room, fighting. You get to the next outside area, guess what? There's more fighting. You get into some hallways after that, then there's more fighting. More hallways, more fighting. Then prison skip. Prison skip there's been a way that's been developed to make it fairly consistent, but it's still prison skip. You still have to be very experienced to pull that trick off. I highly suggest don't go into the prison. That is an entire other conversation. Not fun. But you hit prison skip, and then guess what? Then there's more fighting. Then there's fighting hunters on LASO. Holy shit. Yeah, not fun. Then you get to a big-ass outside area with a bunch of snipers. Not fun. You go across a light bridge, and yeah, there's some parts in there that you could probably skip if your movement is good enough, but there's a lot of fucking fighting. Everywhere there's fighting. Then you keep going along these like gravity lifts, and then look, there's more fighting in the, I like to call it Hell Room, where the drones and the elites are, the drones and the jetpack elites are fighting first. And then if you kill shit in one order, you get extra jetpack elites, more elites, and then you got brutes, and you got to kill all that shit. Then there is a couple of parts that you can skip, and those are pretty fine. You know, you can get rid of all of that shit. That's okay. And then you get to, you walk through some things, kill a couple of things, get to the final bridge, and then there's a bunch more fighting. After that is the mausoleum fight at the end, where you guessed it, there's more fighting. You can skip the mausoleum fight at the very end if you stall the hunters long enough in the exit door. You can skip that fight, walk all the way down to the other side of the bridge. The end level trigger doesn't spawn just yet, but basically there's like a 10 to 11 minute time span that will pass by there where the game stops checking if the enemies are alive. Once that happens, you can walk back up, hit a trigger, and then that spawns the end level trigger, and you can do it that way. I suggest you do it that way because fighting all the shit in the mausoleum, fuel rod, white elite with a plasma rifle, white elite with a carbine, 6 brutes, 2 drones, 2 hunters. Yeah, let's just stall the hunters in the door. Again, I said this at the beginning, I'll say it at the end. No brainer. Gravemind is a pain in the ass. Uprising, thank God. A nice mission. A nice break after Gravemind. At the very beginning of this, you can grab nades and a shield off of the initial first 3 brutes. You kind of got to be a little tactful with how you take them out because they can overwhelm you, but for the most part, not that big of a deal. That entire first encounter can be skipped with some pretty specific grenade jumps afterward. Then you can kind of do a little bit of small manipulation right at the very beginning of the mission, get yourself triple overshield, and then there is a series of grenade jumps that you can do. That's, it's like one grenade jump here, then a double plasma grenade, then another grenade, or a brute shot jump, one of the 2, or 3 rather. And you can get outside the map and literally just walk to the end. It does take a little bit of skill to pull this off, but if you're not like in a full game setting, for example, or not in a deathless run, whatever, you can rinse and repeat because everything that you need is right at the very beginning. Even if you wanted to do the mission, not do the extra stuff at the start and just kind of run through, you do have active camo as well as head glitching. And so with a lot of stuff being distracted, even if you play through the normal way, you can skip just about everything till you get to that first outside, that exterior branch. And then it's like you just jump up a tree and walk to the end of the mission anyway. Yeah, Uprising's going in the easy category. High Charity. Man, there's a lot going on in this mission. So, at the very, very beginning of the mission, you actually can do High Charity skip on LASO. It does work. You have to do things a little bit differently, but I am like 99% sure that whenever you do high charity skip, if you actually took the time to learn it, you can skip the entire mission. But what you have to do is whenever you hit high charity skip in a LASO setting, quote unquote, you have to do a frame perfect cutscene skip, which really isn't ideal, especially for people that play, 120, 240 unlimited FPS. Chances are you're not going to get that, and Iron Skull is just going to revert you. It can happen, but let's do devil's advocate and play through the mission the quote-unquote intended way. So there's a shitload of flood at the very beginning that you fight, and there's some brutes that you kind of want to rush through with a rocket launcher that's nearby, because if you don't rush through there's more flood that spawn in, and that shit sucks. So yeah, we're gonna just rush that and get the hell in there. So you go up a lift, then you fight a shitload of drones and a shitload more flood. Takes forever to kill them. Go to a dark hallway, can't see shit at all. Even with a flashlight on, all the enemies are invisible, so that sucks. Shitload of hallways, shitload of enemies. You get the picture. You can't see anything until you get to like the mausoleum area, or the I don't even remember what the high charity, the council chamber. That's exactly what it's called. Oh, council chamber. You hardly can't see anything on the entire mission until you get to there. All of the enemies know where you are the entire time, and you can't see anything. I can't emphasize that enough, how you literally cannot see. Bar all of that and everything else, getting to the end, whenever you go up the grav lift, the very final grav lift, there's a chance that the sniper in that area just blames you as soon as you go up the lift. Now, if you have overshield and are prepared, you can tank a shot, but you can't tank two. And if he's going to shoot you, like if you're already getting shot, and I'm talking before you even hit the ground, you just die. High charity, not fun. It's got the hardest trick in the franchise in it, and then if you play it the normal way, you can't see anything at all. High charity is definitely going in the hard category.
Dylan! You son of a bitch!
Last but not least for Halo 2 is The Great Journey. And shout out to the Black Eye Skull. Thanks to the devs for coding your allies as potential enemies, because you can get shield off of your allies. So once again, thanks for that. Using the Spectre, you can do a despawn at the very beginning. You can get rid of all of the enemies right at the start, as well as the two wraiths. Then whenever you get into the building interior, you can skip most of those guys, but it is a little bit scary. It is the final mission of H2. All of the enemies do know where you are. Shields don't regen, so on and so on. You do get a little bit of a break whenever you get to the jail section where you're supposed to free the hunters and free the elites. Actually, whenever you get to that section, you can walk in, hit the load zone, and then walk back all the way to the outside where the Scarab is docked on that platform. And then you can either do a grenade jump, or a series of grenade jumps rather, or you could drive the Spectre up one of these big rocks, and you can actually get to that platform and clip into the trigger volume that activates that Scarab, balcony fight section. Those brutes will have no AI. You take those guys out, and that is the first half of the mission done. After that, you grab a Banshee, fly all the way to the very end, and then you wait for the Scarab to get up there. You can do a little bit of a load zone manip to get straight into the final fight. The scary thing about getting into the final fight is that right away, the enemies that are right in front of you, they're not that scary, but they can do weird things. There's a shotgun guy there, carbine guy there, brute shot guy. And if the brute shot guy blows up your Spectre, for example, or the vehicle that you brought into final fight, that can cause some problems. It's rare, but it can cause some problems. The other thing is, whenever you spawn in front of your teammates, and all of your teammates are programmed to run straight forward. They can run right into the back of you and knock you off the map whenever you're jumping backwards. Another little bit of a weird thing. And then just the boss fight itself, yes, you can do the Infinite Johnson glitch, or Triple Johnson, whatever you want to call it. And they do a lot of the work in fighting Tartarus, but even with 3 layers of shield, Tartarus's hammer is still a one-hit melee. I think all of that being considered, we'll throw Great Journey in the medium category. Wrapping things up for Halo 2. I have 7 missions under the easy category. Okay, am I just biased here? Like, Halo 2 is not easy. Have I just played this too much? Do I need to Okay, under the medium category, we've only got one Great Journey. Then hard, we've got Cairo, Sacred Icon, and High Charity. Yeah, I feel like those fit. And then pain in the ass is Regret and Gravemind. Okay, just those 2 missions alone. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Up next, Halo 3. Let's close this out. Also, I did not forget about Armory, but come on. That's easy as shit. You know that goes in the easy category. Stop playing. Starting us off with H3 is Sierra 117.
We're supposed to be a unit.
Suck my unit.
This mission overall is relatively short, like 15 minutes, something like that. There's a skip right at the very beginning. You skip a piss ton of enemies. Very nice. Then you get into the next area, and in this particular area, I like to kind of bum rush this and skip all these enemies. A lot of those guys tend to throw grenades more than shoot you, so as long as you're in and out, you can live most of the time. After that, there's a nice little short little bit of combat. Then you do a despawn where you can walk back into the previous area, and some of the invisible barriers that are there get despawned. That allows for a huge skip in the river section. And then you go to Sniper Jackal Forest. You know, it's pretty easy once you learn where those guys are. You can take them out fairly quickly. After that is the Pelican section. That section has killed me more times than I care to admit. And you dodge? He's a god! Release me! That section does kind of suck. You gotta kind of fight that, or you can do a YOLO strat. Don't recommend the grenade YOLO. I recommend fighting that stuff. Then after that, you get to the dam section. And the dam section is decently straightforward, but there is a lot of combat there. I think all of that being said, we'll start Sierra in the medium category. Following suit is Crow's Nest. Now, right out of the gate, there is a little bit of combat in a hallway, but the main meat and potatoes of the beginning of this mission is the hangar where the Pelicans are trying to launch, so to speak. There are 3 waves of enemies here, and the grunts with catch and the fastballs, and I have died way more times in this room than I care to admit. The brutes like to dodge the plasma pistols that you shoot at them unless you can do this little duck and cover thing where you hide behind a wall, shoot the plasma pistol, hide again, and they kind of stand there kind of stupidly. But that room is not very fun. After that, you get to a drone clear, and then after the drone clear, you get to the room, I call it the Chieftain room, but it is the room with the Hammer Chieftain, and there's like 15 brutes in this room. Oh, come on. You got to do this marathon sprint back and forth to bring all these plasma pistols up to kill all these guys. And then once you, say for example, you kill them in the wrong order, like the Chieftain has these 2 lieutenants. There's 2 brutes that stand near the Chieftain. Both of them in this particular scenario have plasma rifles, and they're the ones that drop the regen. If you kill both of those guys, the Chieftain just freaks the fuck out and just uses his invulnerability, and then he'll rush you and he's just a clown. Really annoying fight right there. And then right after that, you've got the Great Launch. And thanks to the Cowbell Skull, this now becomes AIDS. So it's like if you don't have the invulnerability, you have to have this hyper-specific setup to do the Great Launch. Or if you choose the other alternative, you can go in and fight the barracks. And yeah, there goes 15 more minutes of your time on this mission. No fun. Right after that, you get up to the Pelican area, where it's the landing zone, I guess. And again, more fighting. Then after that, there is once again more fighting. Thankfully, if you set yourself up correctly, you can have an active camo, and you can skip the bomb room essentially by using the active camo, running up and then activating the bomb and then just leaving. The camo timing isn't that tight, but you got to be in and out pretty quick. And then after that, it's just a beeline to the end. You can die at the end. I've had some really weird things happen where the grunts in the final hangar where you're trying to reach the elevator to exit, those grunts sometimes will get shot, or if you interact with them, they lose their panicked AI and they'll start just chucking grenades across the room. This mission is not fun. All of this being said, Crow's Nest is going in the hard category. This mission kind of sucks. All right, man. Savo Highway. Thank you. Savo has plenty of ammo to go around, plenty of beam rifles. You've got your allies that are there with you. They can, tote around stuff for you, fuel rod, beam rifle, whatever. And almost every section that you can get into in this mission, you can fight stuff from a safe distance away, which is really, really nice. You drive past a few things, and then there's like a little bit of a shield door area where there's choppers driving around and there's a big shield door. And in this section, there's a fuel rod chieftain that for a lot of people is this big, huge problem, right? So did you know that if you kill 3 grunts that are running around in the area, one of the brute captains will be like, retreat! And everybody just runs back? Most of the time, the fuel rod guy will go with them, and you can literally just walk up a rock face, jump over a couple of things, and then walk through the shield door and walk past everything. You don't have to fight any of that stuff. See you later. Then after you get over the broken bridge section, it's the exact same thing in the next area. You go up top, there's a snipe up there if you need. There's a regen you can pick up along the way while you're heading in that direction. You kill a couple of grunts, that will spawn in the enemies that you want to go away from you. There's some jetpack guys that spawn in right there. Once you kill enough enemies, the jetpackers spawn in, and you can literally, there's a path where you can walk around everything. You get to the section with the Wraith and the 2 choppers, and guess what? No idea why, but the Wraith just despawns. Holy shit, let's go. You can use a noob combo after that, stun the choppers, easy money, we're flying in. Then there's a nice, slick little despawn at the very end of the mission to get rid of everything except for 2 Wraiths. Again, noob combo, take those guys out, and then you have a Wraith to complete the mission. I think that sells it. Savo Highway equals easy mode. Moving on to the Storm. This mission overall, not too long, but at the same time, not too short. There's a lot of combat on this mission that you need to do in a very specific order to have any resemblance of a good time. Whenever you start things out right away, there's combat. You get after that into the first lake bed. There's a very specific order in which you need to do the lake bed for it to be efficient. Once you clear that first lake bed, once again, shitload of more combat. After you get past that stuff, if it lets you pass, sometimes you have to fight him. There's a chieftain there with a turret. He's a little weird. After you get past that, though, whenever you're walking down this long hallway to get to the rocket mongoose area, those guys literally just sometimes will shoot the wall for no reason, or they will shoot their allies trying to aim at enemies that are left at the other side of the hangar. Really shit, really bad AI programming. I don't even know what I'm talking about, so let's just move on. You say you get the mongoose and you grab the rockets and you go ahead and get to the second lake bed. Second lake bed has a shitload of ghosts in it, shitload of choppers, shitload of fighting. The ghosts just zap you, take you out. You're literally made of paper mache in Halo 3, and this mission does you no favors. After you kill all of that shit, you're supposed to do a scarab fight, but thankfully there is a nice easy mongoose clip to get through this door that allows you to continue. Very nice there. The only problem is that you forfeit the Arbiter for the rest of the mission. But if you're smart and you plan ahead, you can take a combo into this area and you can pretty strategically and pretty reliably use Bubble Shield to your advantage and bypass a lot of the enemies in this interior end of the mission. Once you get past all of this stuff, you gotta kind of bob and weave through these areas. I've got a nice little route figured out for this. But once you get to that final encounter where there is 2 carbine guys and a chieftain at the end, couple of hunters, some grunts, there's a lot of stuff going on at the very end. There is a hallway that you can hide in to take those guys out, but if you run out of green gun here, killing those carbine guys is really, really hard. It is not a good time fighting those guys. I could just run right by these guys. If I had balls, I'd do it. If I had balls, I'd just run for this. I have balls. Fuck it. We go. We ball. Balls of steel! Let's go, boy! Once you take them down, though, there is a nice little skip where you can jump over an elastic barrier, in a sense. You get out of the map, and then you can go to the end, despawn the final guys, and take out the AA turret or AA gun. I think all of this calculated together, and the fact that you're really not very strong in H3 as a Spartan, I think I'm going to put Storm in the hard category. Okay, Floodgate, I have nothing to say. You can skip everything on Floodgate, including the very last area, as there's a break in the elastic barrier. You literally grab a hammer and hold forward the entire mission. There's like one particular section where you have to like jump through a grate, but you can despawn and skip everything. This is a 5-minute mission. Floodgate definitely going in the easy category.
All right, pop the hatch.
Up next, the Ark. I hope you're ready for a long one because this mission is a long one. At the very beginning, there is a few sleeping grunts where it's almost mandatory you need to get that noob combo, or else you're not going to be able to kill all the enemies in this area. The second area, there's even a little bit more combat. Now, you can do a grenade lure strat to get through this area, or you can do a double brute shot jump. Moving on, guess what? There's another section with vehicles and a shitload of combat. After that, then look, there's more vehicles, more combat. Yay, I'm starting to get the theme again here. Once you get past all of that shit, though, using the shit that you're given with combo and so on, you get to a section where the Dawn is supposed to fly in. Then you got to kill a bunch more brutes, a bunch more grunts, and then after that, the Dawn flies in, you get a tank, and then after you get the tank, you get a little bit of breathing room. So that's nice. Get your composure, get together. I mean, even whenever you're no shield, you can tank like 3 or 4 fuel rod shots, blinking no shield in the tank. Like, tilt really comes in clutch in this particular section. Once you get through here, you just fight your way all the way back to the gate. You there's a lot of room to work with. You have a lot of distance there, for example, to take things out. And whenever I say gate, I mean, the big barricade wall that you have to go through. So you walk through that wall, then you get to the Scarab fight. Once again, you most of the time will have allies there, but it is a Scarab fight. You do have a tank, but it is still a pain in the ass.
Not bad, Spartan. I saw that explosion from orbit. Truth's fleet lies in ruin.
And yeah, the level ain't over yet. You got to either fight through a bunch of enemies to get up to the door, or you can take the chopper and drive up top and skip. Then you have these long-winded hallways where you got to fight more shit to get all the way to the very end. Then there's camo brutes, you gotta fight all of that shit. And then at the very, very end, there's a chieftain, and what is it? It's 6 brutes, 8 brutes, I don't know how many at the end, but it's like a Coliseum fight of enemies at the very end. Man, this mission is a pain in the ass. Is this the pain in the ass category? I think let's put Ark in pain in the ass. Let's do it. Now for another long-winded mission, the Covenant. Right at the very beginning, though, you do get a little bit of a reprieve because you can skip everything by walking all the way around. Very, very nice. Once you go up far enough, you hit a load trigger, you can walk all the way back and get a Warthog, which makes it really, really nice, because after that, you can get a Ghost and skip a bunch of shit. The only thing that you have to kind of worry about at the very beginning is the Banshees. There are 2 of them up there, and they take 3 laser shots apiece. Well, you only got 5 laser shots, so best case scenario, you're killing 1. After you get the ghost, you can do a barrier break and skip a bunch of shit to just get directly into the first tower. There is a clear up there with a chieftain and 4 brutes, and again we have the lieutenant thing where if you kill in this situation it's both of his brute shot brutes, those guys are his quote-unquote lieutenants. If you kill both of those guys, this brute up here goes batshit crazy and just acts a fool. He does not do any of his normal movements whenever both of those guys die. No idea what's going on there, idiot. But once you get past that, sometimes you can get yourself an invulnerability, sometimes you have to fight stuff, but you can exit out of the first tower pretty simply, I feel like, at least in most situations. You get a little bit of driving, then you get to the Hornet section, and the Hornet fight is long-winded as shit on LASO. It takes forever to do nothing. Even with for example, taking the laser with you and giving the laser to a Marine so that you've got infinite shots, long-winded as shit. That fight is so fun on Legendary, but on LASO, it is a drag. After you get done with that, you get to the 3rd tower, kill a bunch more shit. You get out of the Hornet, then you got to kill a bunch more shit. Go inside of the building. Whenever you go up the lift, guess what? Another 4 brutes and a turret chieftain. This turret chieftain is an asshole. He does not like to die. What he likes to do is throw the fucking power drain at himself so you can't stun him with a plasma pistol. Asshole. Whatever. Kill that guy, and then this is my favorite part. Whenever you kill all of the enemies in the top of the 2nd tower and you hit the button to progress the game can just shut the fuck off. It'll just black screen you and then you gotta restart. Oh well, too bad. Yeah, stupid. So, okay, let's keep going. Let's just pretend that doesn't happen and we keep going. You gotta do the tower exit, which is, you guessed it, a bunch more fighting that we don't want to do. Stupid. We get out of the tower, we get into a tank, and then thankfully, if you play your cards right, you can do another nice little skip here to despawn a doorway so you don't have to fight both of the scarabs. In combination with that, there is a load zone manipulation skip that you can use for the interior of the long battle, the long bridge that's at the very end of that building interior. By hitting a couple of load zones, you can get in there and despawn all of the enemies on the way up to where Arbiter kills Truth.
You must be silenced.
Then if you're playing solo on the way back, Arbiter takes everything out for you. At least most of the time. I mean, sometimes he just jumps off the cliff, but hey, he respawns right away. It's really nice. All in all, though, the length of the Covenant and some of the nuance that goes into this mission, I'm gonna have to throw this one. It's gonna be right at the top of hard, but I don't think this one is quite to the level of being a pain in the ass. And this brings us to Cortana, the second to last mission in Halo 3. And this mission is nothing but random number generator.
Don't worry, buddy. You're doing fine. I won't let you blow this. What kind of place is this?
Every encounter on this mission is completely random. I cannot tell you how many times I have been killed in stupid ways on this mission. Everywhere that you go, all of the Flood are different. This mission is nothing but RNG. Starting it out, whenever you walk through this mission, you're basically beelining up until you can get to the Pelican. The Pelican is technically where you exit the mission, where it ends, but you have to go save Cortana first. So whenever you get over there, there is a nice little lure distraction grenade that you can do to make running through this next particular section pretty nice most of the time. So you throw a distraction grenade, wait a little bit, and then you run through. After you get out of there, there's another room that I like to call the triple camo room, room where you can do a camo juggle strat. So you can essentially skip that room, set yourself up with an active camo to skip the next really long hallway that has a shitload of random flood in there. Holy shit, that's not good. Once you get out of there, there's a specific point where you don't want to pass, and then once you get to there, you wait for a little bit, everything behind you will despawn, and you can go back for a third camo that will get you through the Halo 3 version of Hell Room. That room, it's literally the epitome of the faster you get the hell out of there, the better off that you're going to be. Once you get out of that room, that brings you to Reactor Room, where you guessed it, every encounter in there is completely random. Thankfully, in this room, most of the enemies there are not programmed correctly. It's almost like Bungie ran out of time and forgot to give them AI. That doesn't mean that all of them are like that. It's still kind of a back and forth fight on this room. After that, we go save Cortana. We come out to the exit of the Reactor Room where we have to blow up High Charity. Once you get out of there and you're doing this kind of beeline to get to the very end, as the ship is exploding, quote unquote, every situation you encounter at the end, random. Brute shot flood, plasma rifle flood, sword flood, mauler flood, carbine flood, SMG, shotgun, you name it, random. All of the encounters are shit, and you can only do so much to get through. As you're exiting out of the mission and running past all of this shit, you make your way back into the triple camo room that you came through at the start, and whenever you get into that area, there's a camo that you would pick up along the way. Whenever you get in there and you're running into this tight hallway, there's an explosion that happens. Thanks to Cowbell here, there's a wall that a pure tank form just blasts through, and he sends that damn piece of the wall to fucking Kingdom Come. That thing flies off and it's a one-hit KO, and it can just ricochet off the walls, and then that's still not even the end of the mission. You still have to fight through a few more guys, completely random flood, until you get all the way back to the very end, where thankfully in solo, Arbiter is there to help you, but if they somehow kill him, you've got nothing to fight all these guys at the end. Cortana is surefire. Due to randomness alone, a pain in the ass. Lastly, Halo, the final mission of Halo 3. And if you set yourself up correctly for this mission is not going to come off as being too terrible. You can skip a lot of things at the very beginning, and you can even set yourself up to have an infinite laser. We do get the easiest boss fight in the franchise on this mission, as well as an invincible ally that takes out a lot of enemies all the way to the Warthog Run. But this is where things change up a little bit. On the Warthog Run, you don't have a good way to get your shields back. Now, you can despawn a lot of enemies on this Warthog Run, but the thing that scares me is cowbell along with explosions along with panels. If you're not paying attention, you can die from a panel exploding. It can just knock you off the map, just not give a shit. The very end of the Warthog drive is very, very random. Not even the very end, really. The entire Warthog drive. A lot of people, they do say it's consistent, but I definitely am not a fan of cowbell and explosions. And I think from that reasoning alone, I'm gonna have to put Halo in the medium category. So, we've gone over every mission in the original trilogy. And to bring Halo 3 to a close, we've got 2 missions, Ark and Cortana, in the pain in the ass category. We've got 3 missions, Crow's Nest, Storm, and Covenant in hard, 2 missions in medium, Sierra and Halo, and then we have 2 missions in easy, Savo and Floodgate. All of these things together, full circle, brings us to 6 options for the worst mission or LASO in the original Halo trilogy. So I can already tell you that this is going to be a tough choice. Gravemind's long level length, Truth and Reconciliation's Keys rescue mission, Cortana's nothing but randomness, Two Betrayal's mission start in combination with Boole, and Regret's boss fight mechanics. So let's start with this. Ark is definitely not the hardest mission in the original LASO trilogy. It's just not in comparison to the rest. So that leaves us 5 options, and I'm really struggling with 3 of them. Truth and Reconciliation, Gravemind, and Cortana. Now, that's not to say that Regret and Two Betrayals are not hard missions. They both have their hard parts, but I don't think they're on the very top. Two Betrayals is a really rough start, but if you learn Fool, you can get through there. So that brings us to Truth and Reconciliation, Gravemind, and Cortana. Now, I love me some Halo 2, but I think I'm gonna have to give this one to Truth and Reconciliation for one main reason: the Keys escort mission. On Cortana, there's randomness everywhere. But if you know the game, you know how to work the AI, you can most of the time get yourself into a situation to counter what's coming to you. Of course, sometimes you're just going to lose, and that's just the way that it is. But most of the time, good player, you should be able to learn and adapt. Gravemind, it's got one hard skip. The level's really, really long, and prison skip is rather annoying on LASO. But again, counter the AI, adapt to the situation. Truth and Reconciliation is the exception. You can't control what Keys is doing. He's a clown. On this mission, his AI is completely busted, and most of the time, if you get to that point, the reset is because Keys does something stupid. Not fun. All of that being said, bring it back. Truth and Reconciliation, I think, is the worst mission in the original Halo trilogy. What do you guys think? Thank you guys so much for watching the video up to this point. I do appreciate it. YouTube, you know what to do. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys on the next one.